Hello and welcome to No First Physics, where we come straight to the point immediately. In the previous two videos, we found the electric field of a dipole in two spatial cases, along the axis and perpendicular to the axis. Now, let us take it one step further. What if the point is anywhere around the dipole, not just on these two spatial lines? In this video, we will find the electric field at a general point P due to a dipole and bring all the ideas together. So, let's get started.
In the previous two videos, we found out the electric field due to a dipole at a point along the axis, as shown over here, this particular point, P along the axis, and at a distance x from the center. This is the center O. So this distance we had taken as x. And we found out the electric field over here along the axis, and we came to this formula, EA is equal to 2 kp upon x cube. Similarly, we also found out the electric field at a point distance x along the perpendicular bisector, point P at distance x. And the electric field over here was found out to be kp by x cube. This was the equation for that. The question now is that if the point is neither along the perpendicular bisector nor along the axis, how do we find out the electric field? So let us say we have a point, let's say point M, which is at a distance x from the center. Let us say this is center O, and this particular distance is, let us say, x. This distance is x. And we want to find out the electric field over here. This is a dipole. The length, the distance between the two charges is 2L. And we want to find out the electric field at M. So how do we handle this? Before we start solving or trying to find out the electric field over here, first let us look at the dipole moment. If you remember, the dipole moment is denoted by the symbol P and is given by P is equal to the charge Q into 2 times the distance between the charges. So in this case, it will be 2 into 2L because we have taken the distance between the charges as 2L. So in this case, you will have Q into 4L. And we know the direction is from negative Q towards positive Q. This is the direction of the dipole moment. So basically this is a vector. This is vector. Dipole moment is a vector whose magnitude is this and direction is from the negative charge to the positive charge. So if I show the vector of the dipole moment on this dipole, it will be something like this. This will be the vector P because it is from the negative charge to the positive charge. Now you must be wondering, why have I placed it over here? Why not over here, or why not probably here? Because that would also mean from the negative direction to the positive direction. You know that in vectors, as long as the direction and the magnitude is taken care of, where you place the vector doesn't matter. So I could have placed it over here, I could have placed it over here, or I could have placed it over here. It will be one and the same as long as I take care of this magnitude. That means I keep the vector of the same magnitude as Q into 4L and I maintain the direction. Therefore, for sake of convenience, I have shown it over here. So let me remove the other vectors which I had shown over here. So let us, okay. So this is the dipole moment vector shown in blue over here from the negative charge to the positive charge. And we will now use this dipole moment to find out the electric field at location M. How? We will do that by finding out the components of the vector P. I can take one component along this line OM. So I can say, let us say this is one of the components of this vector. Please note that this is vector P. This is one of the components. And the other component I'll take perpendicular to that. Let me, to create space, let me remove this. Keep in mind that the distance is 2L. Let me show vector P over here. So this is vector P. And this will be the other component, perpendicular to the one which I had shown over here. So this is how I will show it. So this will be the other component. So you can see a parallelogram over here. This is vector P, this is one component, and this is one component. Now, let us say that this location of point M is x from this particular point O, and this angle is theta. This would be given to us. What x and theta would mean is that we have been given the polar coordinates. So the polar coordinates of the point M are x and theta. X is the distance from this point O, and this is angle theta that it makes with this line joining minus q plus q charges. If that be the case, if this is angle theta, I can clearly see that this component will be equal to p cos theta and this component will be equal to p sin theta. The component which is adjacent to that angle is cos theta, p cos theta, and this is the opposite component, so p sin theta. So let's keep that in mind now, that this is p cos theta and this is p sin theta. Okay, now a very interesting thing emerges. If you look at this diagram closely, you will see that point M is along the axis of p cos theta. So you can see point M is along the axis for P cos theta, and point M is perpendicular to P sin theta. You can clearly see that this is P sin theta, so let me extend this line. So you can see point M is perpendicular. This is exactly 90 degree over here, perpendicular to the line of P sin theta. And for P cos theta, it is along this. So I can use this to find out the electric field at A. So let us say we first find out with respect to P sin theta, or let's begin with P cos theta. So let's say 1, we find out with respect to P cos theta. Now P cos theta is, point M is along the axis, so I'll use the equation for along the axis. For along the axis, we have this equation 2 kp by x cube. So the electric field due to axis will be equal to 2 kp by x cube. K will remain same as it is. Now this is for P cos theta, so instead of P, I will have to write P cos theta, because the point M is along the axis for P cos theta, not P. So P cos theta. I'll maintain x cube because x is the distance between the points. Okay. So this is for P cos theta. For P sin theta, E perpendicular we know is kp by x cube. But in this case, the point M is perpendicular to P sin theta. So I will have P sin theta, not simply P, kp sin theta upon x cube. So very easily I have found out the magnitude of the electric field along the axis and perpendicular. And therefore, E net is equal to square root of EA square plus E perpendicular square. Right, let's go back to the diagram and see what are the directions of EA and EP. We know that EA will be along the axis, so let's show EA. EA will be along the axis, so this is the direction of EA. Same as the direction of P cos theta, it will have the same direction, so this is EA. As far as E perpendicular is concerned, we know that it is opposite to the dipole moment. Since P sin theta is in this direction, the direction of E perpendicular will be this. So this will be E perpendicular, and the resultant of both these vectors will be this. This will be E net. So this gives me the direction of E net. Let us look at it again. We know that when we are looking at a point along the axis, the direction of the electric field is same as the direction of the dipole moment. So we have shown this arrow in the direction of the dipole moment. In the case of point along the perpendicular bisector, the direction of the electric field is opposite to the direction of the dipole moment. Now for the perpendicular case, the direction of P sin theta is in this direction. So direction of E perpendicular will be opposite to that. Thus we get E perpendicular and E axis. And this line over here using parallelogram of addition of vectors gives me E net. And the magnitude of this will be square root of E lambda square plus square root of EA square. And then after finding that out, we will find out this angle alpha. First, let us find out the magnitude of E net, and then we will come to alpha. So let's go down over here and now start putting the values over here. So EA lambda square is equal to, if I start putting the values over here, EA square will be 2 kp cos theta x cube whole square plus kp sin theta by x cube whole square. So this will be under root sine, okay, is equal to, I can very clearly see that kp upon x cube are common in both the terms, and they will have a square sign above them because this is square, so they will come out common with a square sign, and since they are in under root, they will come out without the square sign. So I can take out kp upon x cube common outside the square root sign. Therefore I'll be left with 2 square, that is 4 cos square theta, plus here I will have sine square theta, and that will be equal to kp upon x cube square root of, now I can write this as 3 cos square theta plus cos square theta plus sine square theta. So I have broken the 4 cos square theta into 3 cos square theta plus cos square theta. This will give me kp upon x cube into square root of 3 cos square theta plus 1. So this is the magnitude of E net. And let us look at this closely. We will know the value of k. Since we know q and the distance between the two charges, we know p, we know the distance x of the point M, theta is also known to us, so we'll be able to find out the net electric field at point M. So we have got the magnitude. Now let us look at finding out the angle alpha. So coming back to this diagram, angle alpha, this E perpendicular, I can show it over here. This is E perpendicular. This is E perpendicular, I can show it over here also. So tan alpha will be E perpendicular upon EA. Tan alpha is opposite side upon adjacent side. So tan alpha will be E perpendicular upon EA. So let us use that calculation. So tan alpha is equal to E perpendicular upon E A. Therefore, tan alpha will be equal to tan alpha E perpendicular. E perpendicular is Kp sine theta by x cube, and Ea is 2 Kp cos theta by x cube is equal to, I can clearly see that Kp upon x cube will get cancelled out, and I'll be left with tan alpha is equal to sine theta over 2 cos theta, and therefore I can write down tan alpha is equal to tan theta by 2. I know the value of theta, so I can find out tan alpha. So this will give me the direction of the net electric field. This formula will give me the magnitude of E net. This will give me the direction of E net, because this will help me find out the value of alpha. So this is how we have found out the magnitude and direction of E net for a point placed at a distance x and angle theta. One last point before we end the video. We can derive the equations for E perpendicular and E axis by using this equation. For example, if we take theta is equal to 0 degree, what is the value of E net we get? Theta is 0, so cos 0 is 1, so you'll get 3 plus 1, 4, that will be 2. 4, square root of 4 is 2, so I'll get 2 k p by x cube. So what I can see is that for theta is 0, this is along the axis, so this is actually EA, because theta is 0 means you're looking at a point along the axis, and we get that equation 2 kp upon x cube. What about tan alpha? Tan alpha will be 0 because tan theta will be 0, theta is 0. That means the net electric field will be along the same line. Alpha is 0, so it will act along the same line. 2. When we take a perpendicular bisector, theta will be 90 degree. So in that case, E will be equal to this, E net will be equal to, this is 90 degree, cos 90 is 0, so I'll have square root of 1, which is 1, so I get kp upon x cube. And you can very clearly see that we get the equation for E perpendicular from over. What about tan alpha? Tan 90, so I'll get tan 90 by 2. What is the value of tan 90? So if I try to find out the value of tan 90, right, it's undefined. But based on our previous calculations, we know that it will act opposite to the direction of the dipole moment. Thus, we are able to find out the magnitude of the electric field along the axis and along the perpendicular bisector using the same equation. And we are also able to find out the angle alpha. In this case, tan 90 is not defined, so we are not able to find out the value of alpha. But we know that in case of E perpendicular, the direction of E perpendicular is opposite to the direction of the dipole moment. Thus, we are able to find out the electric field at any point due to a dipole. Thank you.
So now we know how to find electric field of a dipole at any point in space. But here's where things get even more interesting. What happens when a dipole is placed in an external electric field, as shown over here? Does it just stay there, or does something happen to it? In the next video, we will explore the concept of torque acting on a dipole placed in an electric field. And if this video helped you see the bigger picture, do like the video and subscribe to Know First Physics. And let's keep making physics simpler, one concept at a time. Thank you.